Hello, Star Wars and unboxing fans. Welcome to a special edition of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Pumpkin Carving Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be taking one of these craft pumpkins, the kind you get at any kind of art store or that type of thing, and we're going to be doing a carving of a Porg. Okay, putting that on there. Now, as I mentioned, we're using craft pumpkins. Of course, these stencils would work with real pumpkins as well, of course, but I find that I did my first, if you look back on old videos, I do believe I did one last year. I think I filmed it, I'm pretty sure I did. And I did a Darth Vader kind of a face. Now there's like lots of different levels. I'm trying to stick to kind of more of a beginner level, okay, because I don't do enough of this throughout the year to become an expert in any way. But I'm thinking this is, looking at the simplicity of this, I think this is something that we can do, okay? So the materials that you would need, okay, essentially you're gonna need, obviously, a pumpkin. This is a medium-sized pumpkin. I picked this up for about, I think, $15 at a art store called Michael's. I don't know where, and you might have different ones in your neck of the woods. All right, it is hollow on the inside, okay, and it's a lightweight thing. But when you carve it, it does have a little spot for you to work through. Now you could use regular carving tools with this, but I found I had better success with this, which is essentially a hot knife. It's like basically an X-Acto knife that is heated. Be very careful with this. Okay, any of this metal from here on is definitely able to, you can get burned from it. Okay. Obviously a little tape to tape your stencil. It even says, by the way, I got this stencil off of StarWars.com. Okay, if you look under Halloween in their search, you'll find a bunch of stencils there, and it says, you can either transfer your design to pumpkin, either draw freehand using a water-based marker, or you tape it to the pumpkin and you can kind of score it. All right, which I'll probably end up doing that. And by scoring, we mean like just basically setting it up here and then working your way through it with like either, well, I wouldn't do it with a knife. I'll probably do it with a pen, ballpoint pen, or actually just like poke little holes, and I do kind of like a connect the dots thing. So when I take it off, I'll essentially have the design of the Porg right there. And then you would set this up and start cutting. Now this is set, the cutting of this is a little bit challenging. Okay, you got to get used to it. Okay, so you might want to try just doing kind of just your standard triangle eyes, triangle nose, simple mouth, just to kind of get used to it. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'll put this on high speed. Oh, and obviously tape to do it, and you want to have some type of thing. They do say not to use candles, not to use any flames on these, because it's plastic. So it's a type of plastic, so that would definitely melt. There's a warning thing on the bottom here, okay? And it's flammable, so you definitely do not want any flames. Now this is okay for it. It'll melt, the thing will melt it off. It does not catch fire, but do not put any candles in. Instead, use one of these type of things, okay? Any kind of a light that you can get at stores. Again, most convenience stores and places, like even dollar stores, might have stuff like this. All right, so I'll put it on high speed, and we'll get to work. Okay, so we are back, and as you can see, get a little close up here. I think we did a pretty good job. Definitely looks like a Porg. Okay. I will tell you that one thing I may fail to mention at the beginning, but I kind of showed it in the quick vid, is to carve out the bottom first for two reasons. When you do this, you want to make sure that whatever you're using, like in this case, I used one of these bases, as I mentioned. I just kind of put it upside down like this, traced it, and then cut close to that hole or a little bit bigger. And then this thing kind of, because it's a little bit, it kind of goes outward as it goes down, it actually serves as a nice little base, so it won't roll. So that's a kind of a nice thing. And also, when you put this thing on, let's put that in. Scary Porg. Ooh, ooh. I can't do a porg sound, sorry. Something like that, I guess, right? All right, so as you can see, it's really nice, very well put together. You can, I'm doing the real basic stuff. Whoops, put this off for a minute. You can, of course, do so. I was using, as I said, an X-Acto knife kind of blade, but one that was heated. Doing that allowed you to be able to just very easily, well, fairly easily, glide through, okay, each of these longer ones. And the smaller ones, you didn't even have to go all the way in. I mean, if you can look through here, you can kind of see it's not very thick, right? It's only maybe about maybe a quarter inch, maybe a little more, between a quarter inch, maybe a half inch. But that's on the base. On the top, it's really more like a quarter inch. So it's really easy to cut through. And this makes doing some designs like this a little bit easier. I kind of recommend, if anybody was interested in doing some more detailed pumpkin carving, but on regular pumpkins, and get into that skill, you might want to start with craft pumpkins because they're a little more forgiving. Okay, you got to remember, a real pumpkin is, living, is a living organism that each one could be a little different. The thickness of the pumpkin, guts, if you will, could be different. And when you try to get into this real intricacy stuff down here, it could very easily. I've been down that situation before. In fact, one of the reasons I switched to craft pumpkins is because it's a lot more forgiving when you get into real tiny things like his little nostrils and his mouth, his chin, the eyes. It's just a little bit more forgiving. Okay, and the best part, though, the real reason I did it was because I really like this. I like this pumpkin, and now I have a pumpkin to go with my Darth Vader pumpkin, and a third one that I did that was just a standard jack-o'-lantern that I can take out every year. And if I do a pumpkin every year, who knows? Maybe I'll have you'll have every character from the Star Wars universe in the future. You never know. But in any case, there it is. There you have it. You have your Porg pumpkin. Okay. And as I said, at the end of the day, you have some stuff like this. Okay, just some leftover stuff. Again, just be careful how you dispose of this. Okay, it is flammable, so be careful there. All right, so yes, and children, if any kids are watching this, make sure that you have parent assistance, or at least an assistant of an adult. Okay, so that'll do it for this week's episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. Be sure to check out all my videos on YouTube, and like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, as well as check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Darth Tuba, Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Email me or leave comments if you have any questions or comments, okay? That'll do it for this week's episode, and until next time, happy Halloween, and may the Force be with you.